Hello and welcome back, everybody. I'm Steve Pressman, the president and CTO of Alpine Cyber Solutions.
And I'm Frank Urbanski, the Vice President of Security Services here at Alpine.
And today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take a break from talking about security for business and talk a little bit about security for people. But first of all, I need to come up with a name for our podcast. Our young podcast here is just yearning for a name. Are we the Cyber Corner? Are we chatting with nerds? What are we? Do me a favor, post it down in the comments. Give us some feedback. We want some names that could work for our pod. Today, we're going to talk about digital things that impact physical things at its broadest form. We're going to talk about things you do online that affect you in person. There's a lot of those things. We'll talk about smart homes, social media, and a lot of other stuff as well. We're going to talk about bad things that can happen when you do things online, and you're going to see me whip out my trusty tinfoil hat to give you all kinds of evil things that happen. And in all seriousness, we are going to talk about, especially in light of the news lately with real terrible things happening to people in the real world. We're going to give you some real tips on what you can do to hopefully protect yourself and keep out of trouble. Those steps that we talk about for protecting your privacy are going to be pretty important. And finally, we're going to talk about the future. How screwed are we? Are we ever going to get out of it? What's tomorrow bring? So we shall see. So Frank, let's get talking. What are some things that we can do to keep these digital bad things from hurting us physically, or these digital decisions, I should say? They're not all bad things, but digital things hurting us physically.
Yeah, just some of the ones that were coming off the top of our head where, everyone gets excited when they go to do things, posting things on social media. There's been plenty of stories, and hopefully no one has been too affected by it, of posting like, hey, I'm going on vacation tomorrow morning for a week, super excited to be in Mexico, and you come home to a burglarized house. There's the old story from having some smart devices, assistants, digital assistants. When they were first new, they had a lot of features, such as hooking in with your smart doors so you can making sure it's locked from the inside. But it didn't stop pen testers from yelling, hey, open the front door, getting through that
You could
way.
say it. Alexa. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to cause. Maybe I just did.
You might hear it in the
background.
Yeah, there's also posting your photos, your vacation photos, or any of your photos online. There's something called EXIF data, which is metadata with inside the photo that gives a location or time of dates or what camera it was taken with. A lot of information an attacker could get from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So, what could go wrong? What if I don't take care of this stuff? What if I'm just reckless, like we all were at the early days of social media and online life? What's going to happen?
Yeah,
Frank?
right. So just posting information out there, it basically will live forever. And it means anyone can find it at any time. You can look at some of the more extreme stuff that's been happening lately over the last couple of years, like with swatting. Your personal home or phone number is out there. Say you pwn a kid in Halo, and the next thing you know, you're turning around and you're staring down the barrel of a real life rifle. Right?
Oh, look at that. Yeah, seriously. It's a lighthearted podcast, but this stuff's real. This stuff does happen. Algorithms, right? So the evil algorithms. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the media, I don't know the statistic, but a significant portion of news stories posted online are generated by algorithms that are just there to take a kernel of someone's misinformation, truth, maybe, and or biases, and crank it up and write stories that will cause you to feel more strongly and become radicalized. That comes from people posting things about their proclivities, people sharing information in social media, sharing information in general that used to be safely kept away, and we didn't really have those thoughts because we never really talked about. Well, now they're getting weaponized. So yeah, that's real. And also, AI we're all using these days, and I'll be honest, we use it all the time, for helping us to get over writer's block. If somebody poisons the model, if somebody poisons your AI and, gives it purposefully wrong information, now you're going in and trusting the data coming out of your model, out of your AI platform. I think I actually just found the name of our podcast. It's Don't Trust, Just Verify. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we don't want to call ourselves Don't Trust. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's
you're right though. Like with the AI model, there's the popular ones out there and they're closed systems, but there's so many open source ones that people are playing with and anyone can modify them at any time. The general rule is, like Steve said, don't trust it right away. Verify the info, just like you would with a search engine. How often do you type something into Google, go to the very first one and be like, yeah, that's enough. If it's, generally you want to double check to make sure that's not the only thing you're seeing.
All right. So, what's a little human like me to do? How am I supposed to protect myself? What do we do, Frank?
Yeah. So, I mean, to go back to some of the things we talked about, maybe reduce what you're sharing online or even reduce your general social media usage, overall. That includes like posting the information. Maybe, yeah, sure. You want to share your pictures with your family. Maybe do it when you get back from vacation. Don't pre-announce where you're going to be. But in general, I find it easier just to not use it and just talk to my friends in a closed system such as a chat.
Yeah, you really don't need to live stream on the teacups to get people to know you're having a good time at Disney World. You can talk about it later. Also, to that point too, you really need to understand who's looking. You need to understand, what your exposure is. If you're sharing things openly, Facebook went through a period of time, 10 years ago, telling everybody to check to see who you're sharing with and don't share with everyone by default and all of that. And then there were always the fun ones that said, copy and paste this into your chat and it'll stop everyone from seeing your stuff. That's all BS. But really, there are settings about who you share with, only friends of friends and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and to the vein of knowing what you're sharing with is also knowing what you're giving access to with your own stuff. So think of apps you install. Maybe it's not the best. It wouldn't be the best to give Candy Crush access to make phone calls on your device. You install an app on your phone. A lot of the times it asks for a certain level of permissions. Do games need access to phone functions? Does a document reader need access to your OneDrive? Something to look into.
Yeah, I remember when Pokemon Go first came out. That was the big thing. It asked for everything that Google could give. It's
Yep.
like,
Yeah, real
okay, I
lazy
want to catch
developing.
Pikachu. Yeah. So another thing too, if you're really privacy focused, consider using a VPN. Okay, a VPN. We're not going to go into the definition of it. Go Google it. That's fine. But especially recently, in the last couple of weeks, the government has recommended that you not necessarily trust your phone lines. Encrypt everything that's going across them. Oh, the hat's coming back out now. This is it. Don't trust your phones. They're listening. I'm leaving this thing on. That's it.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I
So,
would.
what can you do, Frank? How do you get through all this? What are you
Yeah, I
supposed
mean,
to do?
we're not trying to instill like a panic and attack inducing fear here. I think generally, if you
These are
ask your,
stylish, though.
if you just ask yourself when you're like going onto the internet to say something, um, think to yourself, am I okay with every person in the entire world hearing this? When it
Yeah.
comes to using social media, right? And then just be a little more mindful when it comes to installing things and using things on your phone or your laptop. Where is it coming from? What does it have access to? Just give it a little bit extra thought to that.
All right, and let's close it up with some future and other theoretical constructs. So, Frank, what's coming next? Let's be quick.
Yeah, okay. So we've talked about AI a couple of times. There are artificial intelligence models you can download right to your phone, right to your laptop. That way nothing leaves your system. You can start using some of those if that's your bailiwick.
I love LM Studio. I love LM Studio.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Keep
vet
going.
your models. And then if you
Yes.
are looking at emails or VPNs, phones themselves, there's a lot of privacy focused ones coming out. So maybe you don't want to use Gmail because Google can scrape your data. There's other ones like I think Proton Mail exists. I think Nord is coming out with stuff. Again, a company still holds it, so you have to do a little bit to see what their privacy settings are. But they're starting to these
Yeah.
privacy focused things are coming out.
All right. So, hey, does anybody out there have any good experiences of where your digital decisions have impacted your personal life? Again, post them down in the chat. We're trying to really build some engagement and make a conversation here. In the meantime, I'm Steve. He's Frank. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.
Later.
Bye.